Sometimes the most painful moments don't arrive with screaming or tears. They arrive in silence. In a text message left unanswered, in a Christmas gift acknowledged weeks too late with three hollow words. And for Mykelti Brown, one of the few daughters who kept extending olive branches long after everyone else had walked away, that silence has finally said everything she needed to hear. What we're witnessing isn't just a forgotten present. It's the slow, devastating collapse of a father-daughter relationship that Mykelti worked harder than almost anyone to preserve. And the most heartbreaking part, she's still trying to understand why. Hello, friends. Today we need to talk about something that's been unfolding quietly on Mykelti's Patreon, away from the cameras and the carefully edited confessionals. It's about a Christmas gift, a grandfather who doesn't call, and a little girl named Avalon who thinks someone else is her grandpa. This matters because it shows us exactly where Kody Brown stands right now, despite everything we've been watching this season. His apology tour, his tears on special forces, his promises to do better, all of it is being tested in real time by his own daughter, and the results are crushing. Let me walk you through what actually happened, because the details matter here. Before Christmas 2024, Mykelti and her children worked together to create a handmade scrapbook for Kody. This wasn't a last-minute Amazon order. She showed her followers the process of making it, carefully selecting photos, pressing her kids' handprints into the pages, writing letters. The gift arrived at Kody's home on Christmas Eve. Mykelti waited. Christmas came and went. No acknowledgement, no text, no call. By early January, Mykelti reached out. Hey, Dad, did you receive it? Nothing. She texted again. Finally, on January 9th, Kody responded. He said he got it. He said he liked it. That was it. 3 sentences, weeks late, for a gift that represented hours of her time and emotional labor. During her Patreon live, Mykelti said something that should make every parent's heart sink. He probably won't be getting one for 2026. Now let's pause here because we need to understand what this gift actually represented. This wasn't just a scrapbook. Mykelti specifically called it an olive branch. Inside were photographs of moments Kody had missed. Milestones with his grandchildren, family gatherings he didn't attend, life happening without him. She included a letter addressed to the entire Brown family. And here's what cuts deepest. Not a single person from Kody and Robin's household responded to that letter. Not Kody, not Robin, not the older kids who live at home. Complete silence. Think about what it takes to create something like that when your relationship with your father is already strained. Mykelti knew the risk. She knew he might not appreciate it. She did it anyway because she was trying to build a bridge, trying to remind him of what he's missing, trying to give him one more chance to show up, and he couldn't even manage a phone call. To understand why this moment is so significant, we have to look at who Mykelti has been in this family for years. She was the daughter who stayed loyal to Kody longer than almost anyone. When her sisters pulled away, when her brothers stopped calling, Mykelti kept trying. She defended Robin when others criticized her. She invited Robin to be present via Zoom for the birth of her twins. She allowed Kody and Robin into her children's lives even as she watched her father fail her siblings over and over again. She was the peacemaker, the one who believed her dad could change, the one who kept extending invitations even when he didn't show up. For years, Mykelti tried to be Switzerland in a family war. And that's exhausting. According to her mother, Christine, part of the reason Mykelti and Tony moved to North Carolina in 2024 was because Mykelti was simply worn out from trying to hold everyone together. But here's what most people don't realize about that move. Kody knew they were leaving. Mykelti told him directly that he should come visit before they relocated across the country. It didn't happen. He blamed scheduling conflicts in his confessional, saying they kept advancing their plans and everyone's schedules didn't align. But Mykelti's version tells a different story. She made it clear to him, this is your chance, and he didn't take it. Then, months later in December 2025, Kody traveled to North Carolina to film his on-camera apology to Janelle. 4 of his children live in that state: Maddie, Mykelti, Peyton, and Savannah. That's more than 20% of his kids. He was in their city, and according to Mykelti, he didn't reach out to a single one of them. I didn't get a call, didn't get a text, didn't get an email, she said on her Patreon. Tony didn't get anything either. She made it clear she would have driven over 3 hours to see him if he'd just asked. If he was at Maddie's house, we would have made the effort, she said. But he never gave them that opportunity. He flew in, filmed his scene with Janelle, and flew back home to Robin without spending a moment with the children who live right there. Now, Let's talk about what we've been seeing on our screens this season, because the contrast is striking. We've watched Kody on Special Forces, breaking down in front of the directing staff, admitting he was the problem in his divorces, crying about his failures as a father. We've seen him launch his apology tour, sitting down with his ex-wives, trying to make amends. The narrative has been redemption, growth, a man trying to do better. But Mykelti's experience tells us something different. She's watching the same show we are. She told her listeners that every time she sees Kody on Special Forces, she thinks, I should call him. That's good stuff. She sees the vulnerability. She sees him taking accountability. And then she remembers that if she does call, it's going to open a whole conversation she's not sure she's ready for. Because here's what Kody said on Special Forces versus what he said later in interviews. On the show, surrounded by military interrogators, Kody said he was fully culpable for the breakdown of his family. He took complete responsibility. But just weeks later, during a Good Day New York interview in November 2025, he walked it all back. He said he only took full responsibility because that's what he thought the military staff wanted to hear. He said his ex-wives need to take partial responsibility too. He said the real issue is trash talk and innuendo from his children. Do you see what's happening here? The accountability was performative. It was something he said in the moment to look good, to get through the challenge, to craft a narrative. But when he got home, when the cameras weren't trained on him by Special Forces producers, when he was back in his comfortable patterns with Robin, the old Kody returned. The Kody who blames everyone else. The Kody who can't stay in the discomfort of genuine remorse long enough to actually change. And Mykelti sees this. She told her Patreon subscribers that she's confronted her father directly about situations where he hurt her. She said, look, Dad, this situation happened. I needed you to do this for me, and instead, you did it. You blame somebody else, and because of that, we're having issues. She said that after she calms him down, he usually takes some accountability, but even then, he also blames someone else. He can't just say, I'm sorry. I know what I did wrong. How can I fix it? There's always a qualifier. Always a but. Tony, Mykelti's husband, said something during one of their lives that cuts to the heart of this. He said Kody shows a certain amount of pride and never wants to step down and admit fault or become vulnerable. He said Kody treats his adult children like equals, not understanding that you'll still be standing in some sort of parental role forever. That's it exactly. Kody wants his children to meet him on his terms, as peers who will debate and negotiate. But they don't need a peer. They need a father. They need someone who will put his ego aside and just show up. Here's what breaks my heart about Mykelti's situation specifically. She's made it crystal clear what she needs from her father, and it's not complicated. During her interview on the Pop Psych YouTube show in November, she explained her position. He's been the one extending, she said, acknowledging that Kody has reached out. But it's hard because with me, I'm a package deal. You've got to treat my whole family nice. You've got to treat my kids nice. You've got to talk to all of us. You can't just have me. You have to have all of us. She wants him to be kind to Isabel, to check in on Savannah, to visit Truly, to stop trying to repair relationships one by one on his terms, and instead recognize that they're a family, and family means all of them. But Kody doesn't want that. He wants individual relationships he can control, where he doesn't have to face the collective hurt he's caused. And then there's Avalon. Mykelti shared something on her Patreon that should haunt Kody. She said her daughter doesn't know who her grandpa is. Avalon is so young, and Kody just isn't present. He doesn't call. He doesn't visit. He doesn't show up. So when Mykelti's children see their Oma Christine and their grandpa David, who actually spend time with them, who buy them toys, who teach them how to ride bikes, that's who they know as grandparents. Back when the family was still in Utah before the move to North Carolina, there was a moment captured on Sister Wives that revealed everything. Tony called Kody by his first name when talking to Avalon. Just Kody, not Grandpa. Robin immediately corrected him, but the damage was done. The truth was out there on camera. This little girl doesn't know Kody as Grandpa because he hasn't earned that title through presence and love. Mykelti said it plainly. Avalon thinks David is her grandpa, and why wouldn't she? David shows up. David plays with her. David is present in her daily life. Kody is a name, maybe a face she sees occasionally, but he's not her grandfather in any meaningful way. And that's entirely on him. Kody has used distance as an excuse repeatedly. He's said in confessionals and interviews that once some of the kids moved, it became harder to stay in touch. But Mykelti calls this out for what it is. an excuse, and a weak one. She pointed out that last year alone, Kody was spotted at airports 6 or 7 times. He knows how to travel when he wants to. He knows how to get on a plane. And even if travel were genuinely difficult, we live in 2026. FaceTime exists. Video calls exist. Kody could make himself recognizable to his grandchildren through regular virtual contact if he cared to. But he doesn't. He's choosing not to, and then he's blaming geography for his absence. It's a pattern we've seen before. Kody creating distance and then claiming the distance was created for him. During the October 2024 Sister Wives episode, where Kody called Maddie the gossip of the family, he also said something that infuriated Mykelti and many viewers. He said it wasn't fair to assume that grandparents can always be in their grandchildren's lives. On the surface, sure, that's technically true. But coming from Kody, a man who lives in the same state as some of his grandchildren and still doesn't see them, it rang hollow. It sounded like another excuse, another way to avoid accountability for his choices. Mykelti didn't let that slide. She went to her Patreon and said, instead of blaming the children or blaming how they feel about his relationship with his other wife, or blaming the parents, or blaming gossip or whatever, if he just said, look, I understand I did blank wrong. I'm sorry. Can we talk about it? I feel like that would go such a long way. That's all she wants. That's all any of them want. A genuine apology without the blame shifting, acknowledgement without the asterisks, and Kody can't seem to give it to them. There's a moment from the most recent Sister Wives season that feels important here. During the tell-all, Kody hinted at his estrangement from Mykelti by referencing an incident at either Gwen's engagement party or Garrison's funeral where he and Robin got kicked out because they were showing too much PDA. He said, Yimcho, they messed with us bad, and boy, it cost me dearly. He wouldn't elaborate, calling it something so vitally detrimental to your life, you're just not going to talk about it. Fans and family members have speculated that Mykelti may have been the one who asked Kody and Robin to tone down their physical affection at Garrison's memorial, a funeral for Kody's own son. If that's true, think about how inappropriate Kody's behavior must have been for his grieving daughter to have to step in. And think about how Kody responded, not with understanding or remorse, but with defensiveness and victimhood. He framed being asked to show respect at his son's funeral as persecution. That tells you everything about where Kody's priorities lie. He needs to comfort Robin, to defend Robin, to protect Robin's feelings above all else. Even at his son's funeral, even when his other children are watching, even when basic decency would suggest reading the room and putting his grief-stricken family first. Let's talk about the pattern here, because this isn't new behavior from Kody. Mykelti has watched him do this for years. She's watched him break his own rules for Robin's children, while enforcing them strictly for everyone else. She's seen him allow Robin's daughter, Aurora, to get her ears pierced while he had a standing rule that none of his daughters could pierce their ears while living under his roof. Mykelti and her sisters were told for years that ear piercing was something Kody disapproved of. He made rude comments about women with pierced ears. He made it a moral issue. And then Aurora got hers done, with Kody's accompaniment to the jeweler. Mykelti was devastated. She said publicly that she and her sisters felt like they had a different dad growing up compared to what Robin's children experienced. That feeling of having a different, lesser father is something that's shaped how Mykelti sees Kody now. She knows he's capable of showing up. She's watched him do it, just not for her. What makes Mykelti's current situation so painful is that she spent years being the loyal one. She was close to Robin. She lived with Robin during Kody's courtship, helping with the kids and housework. She called that time special and said it's why she remained close to Robin and her children for so long. She defended that relationship publicly. She tried to maintain connections that her siblings had severed. But something shifted. By 2024, Mykelti's relationship with both Kody and Robin had soured. She's no longer communicating with Robin. She's barely speaking to Kody, the daughter who tried the hardest, who stayed loyal the longest, who extended the most olive branches. She's done, or very close to done. And the Christmas gift situation crystallizes why. Mykelti gave her father a tangible representation of what he's missing. She gave him photos of his grandchildren, evidence of milestones he wasn't there for, a letter explaining how she feels. She made herself vulnerable. She created something with love and hope and effort. And he responded weeks later with the emotional equivalent of, "K, thanks." That response, or lack of response, tells Mykelti exactly where she ranks in his priorities. She's not worth a phone call. She's not worth the emotional labor of a real conversation. She's worth a text message sent after she followed up twice. That's it. Here's what we need to understand about Mykelti's position right now. She said explicitly that she won't reconcile with Kody unless he also works on his relationships with her siblings. This isn't about her being stubborn or difficult. This is about her recognizing that Kody's pattern is to isolate his children from each other, to handle them one at a time, so he never has to face the collective weight of what he's done. Mykelti refuses to participate in that. She's saying, we're a package deal. You don't get to cherry pick which of your children you'll be kind to. You don't get to divide and conquer. You need to show up for all of us or none of us. That's boundaries. That's self-respect. That's Mykelti finally saying enough, and Kody doesn't like it. He wants to repair his relationship with Mykelti on his terms, separately from everyone else, without having to address the harm he's caused her siblings. He told her as much. She said he's basically communicated, I want to have a relationship with you right now. My relationship with them is separate. My relationship with you is with you. But Mykelti knows better now. She knows that if she allows him back into her life individually, he'll use her as evidence that he's not the problem. He'll point to her and say, see, Mykelti talks to me. The issue must be with the other kids. She refuses to be his proof that he's a good father when she knows he's failing her siblings. That's loyalty to her brothers and sisters. That's integrity. What's interesting is that even as Mykelti sets these boundaries, even as she calls her father out, she's still hoping. She still watches him on special forces and thinks maybe, just maybe, he meant what he said. She still texts him about Christmas gifts. She still creates opportunities for him to do better. Part of her is still that little girl who wants her dad to show up. But she's also a mother now. She's watching how David Woolley grandparents her children. She sees what's possible when a grandfather actually cares, actually shows up, actually prioritizes his grandchildren. She sees her kids' faces light up when David walks in. She sees them run to him, call him grandpa, trust him. And she compares that to the stilted, awkward interactions her kids have with Kody on the rare occasions they see him. There's a scene from a past Sister Wives episode that still haunts fans. When Kody visited to meet Mykelti's twins, little Avalon refused to hug him. She wouldn't even go near him. Mykelti managed to get her to do a fist bump, and that was it. This is Kody's own granddaughter, visibly uncomfortable with him because he's essentially a stranger to her. Compare that to what Christine has described about David and Truly. David's son taught Truly how to ride a bike, something Kody never managed to do. David has real conversations with her about her feelings. David makes sure she knows she matters. He stepped into a grandfather role for Christine's younger daughter and actually filled it. He didn't have to. He chose to. That's what makes Kody's absence even more painful for Mykelti. She can see the alternative. She knows what loving, present grandparenting looks like, and she has to accept that her father has chosen not to provide that for her children. He's chosen Robin's household, Robin's kids, Robin's comfort over relationship with his grandchildren. Every single time. Mykelti also revealed something else on her Patreon that speaks to Kody's conditional love. She said that when she and her siblings were young, Kody just loved them. But as they got older, his love became conditional. It depended on how much they respected him, how willing they were to fork over what we want for him. Christine added that Kody wanted his kids to perform for him, on camera and off. That's devastating. Imagine growing up with a father whose love you have to earn, whose approval depends on your willingness to submit to his authority and center his needs, who treats your childhood differently than your adulthood because children are easier to control and adults might push back. Mykelti is living with the reality that her father's love has always had strings attached. She just didn't see them clearly until she was old enough to recognize manipulation. In her interview, Mykelti said something that I think sums up the whole situation perfectly. She said she doesn't recognize the Kody Brown on Sister Wives anymore. That is not the Kody Brown I was raised with, and she said, that Kody Brown is Kody Brown from Sister Wives. That is not Kody Brown, my dad. The show has changed him, or perhaps revealed who he always was underneath. The man who could be warm and present when it served him, when the cameras were rolling, when his image was at stake. But when it comes to the quiet, unglamorous work of maintaining relationships, returning texts, acknowledging gifts, calling his grandchildren, showing up without an audience, that man disappears. What's going to happen now? Mykelti has made her position clear. No more Christmas gifts until Kody demonstrates real change. No reconciliation unless he commits to the whole family. No more olive branches that get ignored. She's protecting herself and her children from the cycle of hope and disappointment that has defined her relationship with her father. And Kody, based on everything we've seen, he's unlikely to meet her conditions. He's unlikely to do the hard work of genuine repair with all his children. He's unlikely to put anyone's needs above Robin's comfort. He'll probably continue his pattern, reaching out occasionally, making surface-level gestures, blaming his kids when they don't respond the way he wants. The tragedy is that Kody still has time. His children are still alive, still reachable, still hoping on some level that he'll show up. But time isn't infinite. Avalon is growing up. The twins are growing up. These early years, the years Christine is missing because Mykelti moved across the country, are years Kody is also missing. And unlike Christine, who visits and FaceTimes and stays connected, Kody is letting these moments slip away. One day, probably sooner than he realizes, his grandchildren won't know him at all. They'll have vague memories at best. They'll hear stories from their mothers about a grandfather who wasn't there. And Kody will sit in his house with Robin and wonder why his children don't reach out, why his grandchildren don't want relationships with him, why his family fell apart. And the answer will be what it's always been. He chose this: every unreturned text, every missed visit, every excuse about distance or scheduling, every priority placed on Robin's feelings over his children's needs, every moment he could have shown up and didn't. These were choices, and choices have consequences. Mykelti is living with those consequences now. A father who responds to heartfelt gifts with 3-sentence texts weeks too late. Grandchildren who don't know their grandfather. A family fractured beyond easy repair. The exhaustion of being the one who tried when trying got her nowhere. She deserves better. They all do. And maybe the most radical thing Mykelti can do at this point is exactly what she's doing. Setting boundaries, protecting her peace, refusing to accept crumbs and call them love. Because that's what the Christmas gift situation was. A crumb. And Mykelti has finally realized she's been starving. Thank you for being here with me today, friends. This story isn't over, but I wanted you to know what Mykelti shared with her Patreon subscribers because it matters. It shows us that behind the cameras, behind the apology tour, behind the carefully crafted narratives, there are real people living with real pain. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do is stop trying to force a relationship with someone who refuses to meet you halfway. If you want to stay updated on all things Sister Wives, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Soul Sister Wives, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Drop a comment below and tell me what you think. Should Mykelti keep trying with Kody? Or is it time to fully step back? I read every comment and I love hearing your perspectives. And here's what I'll leave you with tonight. Mykelti made that Christmas gift with hope. She packed it with love. She sent it with faith that maybe this time would be different. And somewhere in a house in Arizona, that scrapbook is probably sitting on a shelf, unopened or barely looked at, while a little girl 3,000 miles away calls another man grandpa.